Hello fellow stackers, 365 here, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I wanted to talk to you about crypto. Now crypto is something I've tried to avoid talking about too much on this channel because I feel like when you're investing in precious metals it is very different to investing in crypto. When you're investing in precious metals, crypto is almost the complete opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to investments. With crypto it is very speculative. It's a very new investment vehicle, if you can even class it as an investment vehicle. It is also something that you don't physically hold in your possession. So even more so than if you was to invest in, say, the stock market. If you was to buy some shares of, let's say, Google, for example, Google is a functioning business, a functioning company. They have bricks and mortar, they have offices, they have an actual income structure behind them. Whereas with crypto, especially a lot of the kind of meme coins, they don't really offer any kind of business venture, if you like. They don't offer any income statements. They don't make money, they don't generate any income. The main thing they've got going for them is the community that they built around that coin. So it really is the kind of opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to investing. Now, silver, the reason I got into silver was it was the final piece of my investment vehicle. I had all the other different types of investments in my portfolio apart from precious metals, and the more books I read and the more research I did, it explained to me that I needed to be diversified. I needed to have a little piece of every single market that there was, and that is because when one market isn't doing very well, normally other markets are doing well. So for example, if the stock market is not doing very well, you might find the precious metals market is doing very well, and vice versa. So I decided I wanted a little piece of every single investment that there is. Now when I say every single investment, obviously I haven't got every single investment there is, because there's lots of different things in the world that you can class as investments, such as whiskey. Investing in whiskey is quite a popular investment. It's not something I've actually personally done yet, but it is something I'm considering doing in the future. But I wanted to have the kind of main investment vehicles, and in my opinion, and let me know in the comment section if you have a different opinion, the main investment vehicles are property investing, stock market investing, precious metal investing, and fairly recent crypto investing has been added to that list. Now, like I said, some people won't even class crypto as an investment because it's very speculative. It's a very risky play in my opinion, but I still do think it deserves a place in the top 4. So like I said, let me know in the comment section if there's anything that you think I've missed, anything that you think needs adding to my main portfolio. But they're the kind of main 4 things I invest in. I obviously invest in other little things here and there, like collectibles. I've got Pokemon cards that are slabbed, and I've got some really old, original, first edition Pokemon cards. I've got the full collection of those. So I have got other little things that I'm investing in that you would class as collectibles. But in my opinion, there's 4 main investment vehicles. Now, like I said, crypto's the newest one to the 4. And the reason I'm talking about crypto mainly in today's video is because I've decided to sell all of my crypto, and I'm going to explain the reasons why. Now, for those of you that have been following my channel for any length of time, you'll know that I've been very open and honest about my debt situation. I've got quite a large amount of debt that I owe in forms of loans and credit cards. And that is because, rewind a couple of years ago, I was taking out credit cards and loans to invest in different markets. And that's because everything was on the up. Everything was rising. So wherever I was putting my money, it was going up overnight. So the next day I'd wake up and I would be in profit. So in my head at the time, I was thinking, if I take out some really low interest loans and some really low, I was actually taking out 0% interest money transfer options on credit cards. So I was getting 0% interest for 48 months. So I had 2 years to pay off these credit cards on 0%. So for me at the time, being fairly new to investing, I was thinking, I'll take out all these low interest loans and credit cards. I'll invest in the different markets that are going up every single day. When it gets near to the 2-year 0% interest options being up, I'll sell all my investments, I'll pay off all the loans and credit cards and have a nice chunk of money left at the end. Now, obviously that didn't go to plan. All the markets crashed. The crypto market crashed, the stock market crashed. Everything that I'd invested my money into basically crashed. So I was in a situation where if I was to sell all my stocks and crypto, I wouldn't have even had enough to pay off all the loans and debt that I had against it. So I really got myself in a bit of a pickle, and that is why I'm having 365 days of no spending, and that is why I'm using every spare bit of cash to pay down my loans and pay down my credit cards. Now, with that being said, I've actually done very, very well. I've been very, very focused on it. A lot of my money was going into precious metals because, like I said, that was the last investment vehicle that I discovered. So a lot of my cash was going into precious metals. Now, when I looked at all the different investments I held, I had to kind of make a decision which ones to hold on to and which ones to sell first to start paying off this debt. Now, precious metals for me is a long-term hold. It's part of my channel. It's part of my hobby. So for me, precious metals was the last thing that I was willing to part with, because this is the last investment I got into, and this has become way more than just an investment. It's become a hobby of mine. I've engulfed myself in the stacking community, and I've met loads of new people, made loads of new friends. So for me, the precious metals side of things wasn't an option. I didn't want to part with my precious metals. I wanted to hold on to that, and I wanted to focus on selling my crypto and my stocks. Now, again, my properties, that wasn't an option because I bought those for the long-term future. I plan to use those to help me retire, and I also plan to pass those on to my children. So the property side of things, that was kind of not an option either. So in my eyes, the only two investment vehicles that I was willing to part with to help clear down this debt was crypto and the stock market. And I think when you kind of look at the reasons why I chose those was because they're not actually physical assets as such. Like I said at the beginning of this video, silver and gold. I've got a little bit of gold out here. Most of my gold is stored off site, so I don't often show gold on the channel. But silver and gold is a physical asset. You can physically hold it in your hand. There's not a kind of market where you can lose all of your capital overnight. It's not like the crypto market, for example, where you can wake up in the morning and the crypto coin that you're invested in could be zero. This stuff has an intrinsic value. Yes, you can lose some of the premium, especially if you're buying brand new here in the UK and you're paying that 20% VAT. If you look to sell the very next day, you're obviously going to lose that 20% VAT. But it's never going to go to zero because it has intrinsic value. There's a limited supply of gold and silver that can be mined on the planet. So it's always going to have some sort of value. Now, the same can be said for property. Even if there was a huge property market crash and lots of houses dropped in value overnight, they're still never going to go to zero because people always need to live in houses. You've got physical property that you can actually go and touch. You've got bricks and mortar, and you've got everything else that comes with owning a house. You've got the land that the house is built on and all the rest of it. So again, in my eyes, that's another asset that cannot go to zero. And I just want to clarify, none of this is investment advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just kind of my thought process and kind of explaining my thoughts, why I got into debt and why I choose the investments that I choose. Now, like I said, I don't think property is ever going to go to zero because you can physically hold it. Now, the same can't be said with stocks and crypto. And again, I'm going to use Google as an example. I'm not picking on Google because that is one of my favorite companies. It's one of the companies I made the most money in when investing in stocks. But let's use Google as an example. If you have money tied up in Google in the stock market and a big scandal comes out and the company goes bankrupt, your stock could pretty much go to zero. So that is a possibility. You could actually have your whole investment go to near enough zero if the big scandal came out overnight and Google collapsed and went bankrupt and all the rest of it. Now, the same with crypto. And again, I don't really have to go into the nitty gritty with crypto. A lot of people, especially people that are watching my videos and you've kind of done a bit of research into investing, you know from either past experience or listening to other people's experiences that crypto can also very, very easily go to zero. Much easier than investing in the stock market can. You can literally wake up the next morning and it could go to zero. It could be a pump and dump scheme. There could be a big scandal. Even the whole entire brokerage and exchange that you've invested your crypto onto, that could all go to zero, that could go bankrupt, and you might not even be able to access your crypto. So obviously you can put your crypto in cold storage, but that's a different topic for a different day, and probably even a different channel, because this is a precious metals channel. So that leads me on to the reason I sold all of my crypto, and the reason I sold pretty much all of my stocks is because I decided I needed to start paying down this debt, getting rid of this interest. The 0% interest period has expired now, so most of my credit cards are around about 30% interest I'm paying on them. So for example, one of my credit cards is £10,000, and I pay around about £350 a month just to meet the minimum payments on that credit card, and that's just one of my credit cards. So you can see I've really got myself in a bit of a pickle. So I've been selling down my stocks. I've been selling most of my stocks that are in the green, and the ones that are really speculative and they're way down, I've been holding on to them. Say for example, some of my EV stocks where I've invested £2,000 and they've gone down to say £200, for example, I'm holding on to those because in my eyes there is a chance of recovery, and you only really lose money when you actually sell. So the real speculative plays that I took out, I am holding on to some of those. But my blue chip stocks, and for those of you that are new to investing, blue chip means kind of the bigger companies, the larger market cap companies, the Apples, the Googles, the Meta, the kind of big well-known companies, McDonald's, those type of companies fall under blue chip stocks. Now I've been selling all of those. Some of them were actually up double from what I originally started investing when I first started putting money into them. Some of them were up only 20%, some of them were up 10%, but regardless, I've actually made money within those stocks. So I sold all of those and I chucked all of that money towards my loans and my credit cards. Now moving on to crypto, which is kind of the topic of today's video, I've actually sold all of my crypto. Now I say I've sold all of it. There are a couple of coins that are locked up in staking mechanisms. And for those of you, again, that are new to investing in crypto, when you stake crypto, you lock it up for a certain period of time. You can't access it and it earns you interest. So you basically earn more coins, but you can't actually withdraw it or sell it until that locked period is done. So one of my locked period was 6 years. So I've still got another 2 years or so on that one. And some of my other ones are slightly smaller. They've got like a year or so before I can actually access them. But the ones that I've actually got hold of that aren't locked, that aren't staked, I've actually sold. Now, overall, and this is why I'm not too keen on telling you which crypto I've made money in, because I don't want people going out and investing in these coins, especially this time of year when it's coming up to a bull market. We are due another bull run. We've already started the bull run for the crypto market, in my opinion. The main bull run should happen around April, because that's when Bitcoin halves. And again, I've done videos on what the halving means. Just Google it and it'll explain it a little bit more without me going into too much detail. But that is when the next bull run is due. It's every 4 years. That's the cycle that we've seen so far with crypto. But the bull run has already kind of started. And I've already started selling off all of my coins. Like I said, I've actually sold them all off apart from the ones that are staked. Now I have made profit. If you kind of look at the money I've made over the last year or so, I have made profit. There were some that I brought at the beginning of last year, and they're up kind of 200 to 300%. So I've made huge gains in some of these coins that I've recently sold. However, overall, I am massively down. I'm still massively down. Although, like I said, I have made some quite large profits with certain coins. Overall, in my kind of investment journey into crypto, I'm down a large amount of money. And I was also investing in NFTs as well. So I class that as crypto because NFTs are on the blockchain. So it's all kind of the same category. So if we include the money that I've lost investing in NFTs and the money that I've lost investing in crypto, I am overall down, even though these recent sales I'm actually up. Now, the money that I used from selling off all of my blue chip stocks and from selling all of my crypto, I chucked straight at my loans and straight at my credit cards. So I literally sold it, transferred it to my bank and chucked it towards my credit cards. Now, with that being said, I decided to hold back a very small amount of the overall money that I had pulled out of the markets, because I wanted to have something to show for it. I wanted to have something that I can actually show, physically have in my possession, and almost reward myself. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to be buying any silver for a whole year, and I haven't really gone out of out of pocket to buy this, because it was money that was already invested in the markets. So it's not money that I've actually taken out of my kind of day job or out of my bank to go and buy. Now, all of the rest of the money went to the loans and the credit cards. And like I said, I've actually paid off 3 whole credit cards by selling all of these investments. But I did want to have something to show for it. I couldn't stomach just selling all of those assets that I'd acquired over the last 3-4 years, paid off some of these credit cards. And although you can say I've got something to show for it because I'm paying down debt, in my eyes, I wanted something physical. I wanted something I could hold, something I could look back and go, that was a rough ride. That was really tough, having all of those debts. And I've still got a long way to go. Don't get me wrong. I'm nowhere near the end of my debt-free journey. I've probably still got at least a year or 2 years ahead of me of really knuckling down and paying it to get back on the level playing field. But I want something to show for all of my research into crypto and research into stocks. And that is why I have gone out and got this. So let's get straight into it. Some of you might not agree with this. Some of you might think that although I haven't brought this out of my money from my bank, you might think that the money that I got from my selling of crypto and selling of stock should have all gone to my high interest credit cards. And that is completely fine. That is your opinion. But for me, psychologically, I needed something physical to show for it. I couldn't go through with selling all of these stocks and all of this crypto and putting it all onto my loans and credit cards and not have something physical as a reward, something to say, though you've sold all of those things that you once believed in, you wanted to hold long term, you still got something that you can hold long term. So let's get straight into it. I think you're going to really, really like this piece. I think it's a stunning addition to the stack. It really tells a story in my stacking journey, because I've literally drawn out thousands of pounds within the last couple of weeks from my investments, and it's nice to actually have something physical to show for it. Like I said, some of you might not agree with it. Some of you might think that all of the money I sold from my stocks and from my crypto should go towards my loans, but for me, psychologically, I needed something. I needed something to show for everything that I just sold. So this is what I've gone for, and I'm glad it's come out that way up, because this was the side that really, really made me want to add this piece to my stack. Now you can see it's got a kind of waffle back, very, very similar to the old Engelhard vintage bars that you see. Now you'll be very shocked when I turn this bar around in a minute, because although it has got a waffle back, and again, like I said, this is normally something you only see in the really vintage Engelhard bars. Don't get me wrong, it's not a massive prominent waffle back, but you can definitely see it is there. You can see the kind of squares, and you can see it has got that. Let's try and get it into a bit of better lighting. So it's actually really, really interesting to see a bar like this with the waffle back, and I do think it could be quite rare. And when you see what bar this is, do let me know in the comment section if you've seen these bars with the waffle back base before, because I definitely haven't. But let's flip this over now, and you'll see it is a Johnson and Matthey vintage 1 kilo silver bar, serialized. Absolutely stunning piece of silver. I'm going to turn the light down a little bit, because although it's very, very old compared to some of the items in my stack, it is still very, very reflective. There we go. Look at that piece. Let me try and lock that focus for you. Absolutely stunning piece of silver. Now this definitely contained a premium. This is not something that you're going to buy close to spot. Usually when you go for kilo bars, it's a way of bringing your average down. You can normally get them closer to spot than you can, say, an individual coin. So in the past, I've recommended buying bars in between stacking tubes to bring your overall average down. But when you're going for pieces like this, you are going to pay a premium. But absolutely stunning piece of silver. And like I said, I haven't seen one of these vintage JM bars with the waffle back underneath. So that is really, really interesting to me. Now, in the long term, believe it or not, this is actually going to save me money. And that is because, I don't know if you remember, but I did a bucket list video some time ago now. And on my bucket list, let me just show you, because it's over here, hanging from the wall. But on my bucket list, I had a piece of silver and a piece of gold that I wanted to buy within my stacking journey. The silver was a 100-ounce poured bar, JM bar, a vintage one, and the gold is a 50 pesos coin. Now, I've decided not to get a 100-ounce silver bar anymore, and I will do a future video explaining the reasons why I'm definitely not a fan of the 100-ounce poured bars anymore. Although they're great to see on people's videos and pictures of, personally, it's not something that's ever going to enter my stack. And I will do a whole separate video explaining my research into the 100-ounce poured bars and why I won't be getting one. But I really still wanted to have a JM vintage bar in my stack. So I decided to go for this, because for those of you that have seen the 100-ounce JM bars, they look very, very similar to this. They look very, very similar to the kind of swirls you get there, and you get kind of the middle indentation on them. So this is very similar to how the 100-ounce would look, but obviously just a smaller version. So this is kind of a bucket list item for me as well. This is going to be my new bucket list item. I've achieved my vintage JM bar that I wanted, just in a smaller size. And like I said, I actually have something to show for selling all of my stocks, well, pretty much all my stocks, and selling all of my crypto. So do let me know what you think about that. Do you think that I should have not brought this, and I should have also use the rest of the money that I spent on this to go towards my debt? Or do you see where I'm coming from? Do you feel that I do need to buy myself something to reward myself, to give myself a little bit more motivation, and find something to kind of motivate me to continue on this debt-free journey? So as always, thanks very much for watching my videos. I know it's a very long one today, but there was a lot to kind of go through, and I didn't just want to start unboxing this and showcasing it without giving you a bit of context on why I brought this. Half of me thought, should I not showcase this? Should I pretend I haven't brought this and just put it in my deep stack? But I feel I've always been very transparent on this channel, and I want to continue being transparent on this channel. And I do still feel like I haven't broken my 365 days of no spending, because although I brought this, it was brought with investments that I already had. So I essentially swapped one investment into another investment. I didn't actually buy it with cash from my bank or cash that I'd made from my job. I sold stocks and crypto, paid down 3 whole credit cards, and then treated myself to this as a way of saying well done, and to kind of make me feel better about selling these stocks and these cryptos, some of them that I've held for quite a few years, and I did want to hold forever basically, but obviously needs must. I need to reset, I need to sell, and I need to go again once I'm back in the green. So I'm going to wrap the video up there, because I've already waffled on more than enough. Thank you very much for all the support. A massive thank you to everyone that supported my channel. Really, really appreciate it. It's such an amazing community. I've really enjoyed getting to know some of you a little bit more in Stackers Social. So as always, I hope you have a very nice day.